Good morning, guys. Monday, September the 16th. Time for another week down here in the goat pen. Today, I've got to start fleshing out some hides. I'm not going to be able to show this on video because they won't monetize the nastiness of fleshing out a hide. But let me show y'all how I've got my capes when I thaw them. Now, my room in here, I don't have a refrigerator in here. I don't thaw out in refrigeration. These hides sometimes take 2 days to thaw out completely if it's cool enough in here. But what I like to do is take these tubs, it's like a Rubbermaid or Sterilite tub, and I'll put the capes down in my sink like that. This does 2 different things. Number one, it'll keep rodents off of it. Mice, rats, bugs, just about anything. It'll keep anything from being able to get to it. But also it creates a little bit of a refrigerated atmosphere. It holds that coolness in that tub. And when you set these capes out overnight, because they're froze solid, they take a while to thaw out. If it's cool in here, it's going to take about a day and a half before I can even get them unrolled enough to even think about fleshing. So what I've learned to do, instead of setting them out overnight, especially if it's a little bit warm, I don't like it to just get too warm and thaw out too fast overnight and then sit in here and get hot or warm before I flesh them out. So put them under that tub, they'll stay cool enough to where, on average, if I put them out at, let's say, 2 to 3, 4 o'clock the day before, if they sit overnight under that tub, in the morning, it's usually thawed enough to where I can unroll that cape, turn it inside out, and I can go ahead and flesh the body. Now, the face and the head is still usually going to be partially to mostly frozen, but by the time I'm done doing the bodies on these, I'm going to do 5. I usually do 5 at a time per day. By the time I'm done with the bodies, on all 5, all of the heads, the faces will be thawed out, in order that I've fleshed them and unrolled them. So you can just turn right back around. What I usually do is I'll do all these before lunch. Then I'll come back after lunch and I'll do all the splitting on the faces, the lips, the eyes, all that stuff, and turn the ears and flesh the face. Then you get salted up, you're ready to go. Now, Friday, we started on a new batch of pickle. Let's take a look at the pickle bath. This has been sitting all weekend. I started Saturday and started Sunday. And y'all can see in the bottom, you can still see salt standing. That's after 2 days. Let's see here. Y'all can see there's still a lot of salt down in the bottom of that. There's places where you can see the bottom of the tub, but for the most part, it's getting dissolved. But y'all never, ever, ever, ever want to fill that tub completely full of water and throw a bunch of hides in it, assuming that salt is dissolved. The more water that you put in there, the easier it is that salt is going to dissolve. It's just got more volume to get around, all the salt, because that is a lot of salt. But just don't fill it up so deep that you can't see the bottom of that tub. When it's nothing but black, when it's nothing but plastic, then your salt's ready, your pickle's ready. Give it a good stir before you start putting those capes in there. Then as you put the capes in there and add them, make sure that you stir them. Make sure it gets good contact. Always circulate your pickle. Circulate your pickle. I don't know what word that was I just used. But where your cape is, where it's touching that pickle and that pickle is touching that cape, where that contact point is, there are fluids being drawn from that cape. And then there is pickle being drawn into that cape. So it makes that surrounding area around that hide, your pH is going to spike really badly, especially the first 24 to 38 hours, 36 hours. It's going to be really, really volatile. So you got to make sure that as that pickle is doing its job, you keep moving that water around and moving that pickle and that cape around so that it always has that consistent pickle that can pickle that cape correctly so that you don't have any kind of hair slippage problems. Well, I'm going to start unwrapping these capes, start getting some fleshing done. Before I get this table all bloody, I think I can get away with this right here. This cape, you see, it's been sitting overnight. This room is not air conditioned and not refrigerated. You can see how frozen that head still is. The body has begun to thaw. I can pull it apart now. The edges are already thawed. So what I'm going to do is pull this apart. I'll be able to get that apart where it's just still kind of frozen, kind of stuck together. And that, just within a few minutes, will thaw out enough for me to start fleshing it. That's exactly what I want. I want to be able to flesh it as it thaws. It stays good and cold, good and frozen. Something else I'm going to show y'all, I'm getting ready right now too. I've got this gigantic bag of milk jugs. Milk jugs, tea jugs, everything else. Get those things washed out really good. And then I make little tags for my capes. Cut out a tag like this right here. Drill a little bit of a hole in it. And I don't know if y'all have seen the Tyvek tags, if y'all ever bought any tags, but when you're pickling a cape, you gotta have some way to keep them separate while they're all in that pickle. So what I've done, I have found out that you can cut very clean. You want to make sure they're cleaned and washed with Dawn real good to get any kind of residue off of them. You can put these tags on a cape zip tied to it if you use black Sharpie, black permanent marker, and it will stand that pickle. Now when you go to tan the hide, the tan will try to dissolve that marker. So you have to be careful to make sure that once you've put your tan on those hides, let them sit overnight, make sure that you've got them labeled. What I do when I use cards instead of just taping my hides around the bag. I use these tags right here. And what that allows me to do is when I tie these to the garbage bag, I get ready to thaw them and flesh them. I can pull this off. I can save this right here with the number and the name on it. And once this gets salted, it will already have a tag on it. I'll tag it once I get done fleshing it. Now, when it goes over there to drain with the salt on it, all of these tags I'm going to put over there on that table to let me know what batch went into that pickle. So if I do 5 today and they go into the pickle, then I do 5 tomorrow and they go into the pickle, well, you've got to let it sit for at least 3 days before you can start to shave those and then put them back in the pickle. So what it lets me do is 5 at a time, I'll keep those tags separated. And then I can go over there and be like, okay, this was batch number 1. So, you got Monday, let's see, Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Come Friday, I can shave hides from the first batch. And I can go ahead and look at those tags, see what was in the first batch, match up those numbers, and then pull those 5 capes out of that tub. And I can go ahead and start shaving those down Friday. So it lets me keep up with everything. And then when you get back around the back end and you get ready to tan, you can use those same tags. And as they're tanning, I just set those tags on those capes. That way it keeps everything separated just in case that marker gets washed off to a point where I can't read it. Now, if you'll tan that cape, the tan doesn't just wash the marker off right immediately, but it will kind of dissolve it. So what I'll do is I'll put the tan on the cape real good, roll the head up inside the cape, fold the cape over, and I'll try to take that tag end where the end of that cape is and fold it over and lay it on top. So 99% of the time, you're not going to have any trouble, but you're going to want a backup plan if you decide to do that. I've never used Tyvek tags before, and they may just withstand anything. You may not be able to wash the marker off even with tan, I don't know. But this right here is free if you drink milk or tea or orange juice or anything in a plastic jug, preferably with smooth sides. I don't use any of the textured sides. I just get the flat sides of the jugs so that the marker sticks to it really good. But what I'll do, I also write the number on both sides of these tags. So if it's number 1, put a number 1, flip it over, put a number 1. That way, in case something happens, at least it's still there. But the pickle does not affect it at all. You can't even tell that it's been in the pickle as far as the marker is concerned. So that works great. All y'all deer hunters out there, a little piece of advice. When you got your deer laid on the ground and you're caping it out, lay it hair side down on the leaves and the pine straw and the rocks. Don't turn it inside out. I don't need all this. You know what I mean? It's not necessary for a shoulder mount. It's not very hard to clean off. Problem you run into is you get a little piece of sticks, a little piece of rocks, get down in that sinew. And when I run it across my fleshing blade, it tears my blade to pieces, puts little nicks in it, screws it up. Plus, it's not going to hurt anything for that fur to lay. People think they're keeping the deer clean by keeping the fur clean. But it's going to be washed so many times by the time it goes from when you kill it to the time that I have got it mounted that you can do almost anything to the outside of it and it's going to be washed. The inside of it needs to be clean, slick, taken care of. That way I can get all the meat and sinew off of it without leaving anything. Make sure that I've got it right down to that leather. So keep that in mind. All right, well, it's 15 till 8 in the evening. Unfortunately, I ran out of salt in the middle of the entire process. and had to go and get salt. So that put me behind, and now here I am 8 o'clock at night, get done. But it has to be done. It's got to be done. So you'll see I got capes laid out, ready for tomorrow. Got 5 over here. They are already starting to drain. I got to get all this mess cleaned up and go get me some supper. So that will be the end of this horrific Monday. And we'll start over again in the morning. What's going on, guys? Tuesday morning, Tractor Supply has got American Stockman salt. It is $8.99, which is a heck of a deal, and it's also a 50-pound bag and not a 40. And this salt right here is just as fine, really, as the pool salt that I've been using, and it's actually a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to start getting this as often as they have it. I've been using it now for probably about 3 months, and it works great. Figured I'd let y'all know that I had swapped over in case y'all have got a Tractor Supply close. All right, now it's right at 9 o'clock. Hobby Lobby just opened, and they have got their clay 40% off. Now, these big 25-pound boxes are $19.99 regular price. These little 10-pound boxes are $16. So you're getting a way better deal on these 25-pound boxes anyway. But at 40% off, I'm just going to buy every single box that they have. Seems like the thing to do. So just to be clear, the items in the store that have got a yellow price tag on that say your price, they are not discounted on the 40% off. So the clay, the gigantic boxes of clay, the 25-pound, are already at what they call everyday low price, which is only $20. I mean, that is really cheap. I was kind of surprised that they were going to discount me more than that, considering the other ones are so high. But I did go ahead and get all of the 10-pound boxes because they're going to be right around the same price per pound as these big boxes, and they're out of the big boxes very, very often. So that's going to give me enough clay to last just a little while for just a little price. So let's get home. We got to flesh out some more hides, and it's 9:30, so it'll probably take me till about 8 o'clock tonight, just like it did last night, unfortunately. But it's all right. 3 days a month. It's all flesh hides, so we'll be okay. I had to run up here to Yoder's Woodworks. The boys that I went fishing with a few months ago, he had all of our fish in the freezer. I got a good friend of mine, one of the guys that went on the trip with us. He's coming to the house tonight, let me do a little bit of computer work for him. So I told him I'd come pick his fish up and have it ready at the house for him when he gets there. He's got about an hour or so drive to the house, so I figured I'd save him just a little bit of time where he could get his fish to eat them. So it is 2:30. I've got all of those capes, the 5 capes I started on this morning. I've got all the bodies already fleshed out, and the faces on them were still a little bit frozen. So I called Randall and asked if I could come grab the fish right quick. So got that taken care of. Maybe those deer are just getting thawed out enough now to where I can work on them. Anyway, we're about to find out. All right, we got 5 more hides done. Got them over here, salted, ready to go. Got the other capes that I did yesterday. Got them washed really good. Got my tub filled up, and I've got them in a pickle. It's about 7 o'clock, so I actually beat my time by about an hour from where I thought I was going to be today. We got one more day of this. We'll get 5 more done, and probably going to have to work on those. It's probably going to be either Thursday or Friday. I've got some stuff that I've got to do up at the house tomorrow, some social media stuff and YouTube stuff and editing and whatnot. So probably going to deal with that most of the day tomorrow, and then I'll probably be back down here either Thursday or Friday. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. I changed my mind, decided that I was going to come down here and work on some more hides today. So there we go. Thawed them out last night, got them laid out, ready to start fleshing. My other ones are salted, ready to go in the tub. And I have got my tub with my pickle. Hides in there floating nicely. We're going to check the pH. And I'm going to show y'all kind of how this works if you don't already know. Sorry about that, make you a little dizzy. A little piece of test paper. Make sure that when you get the test paper, you want to use the 0 to 3. If it's going to want to focus or not. But anyway, this is a 0 to 3 range pH paper. You can get it that goes like a 5 or something. When you do that, you're going to have way more range, and it's harder to see the color that you're going to need on the strip as far as what the pH is going to read. So let me show you here. All you're going to do is take this and dip it. I like to actually test this before I stir it, just to see where my pH is sitting right here at the hides, because that's where it's going to be the most volatile. So we're going to just dip a little bit in here. You can see that right there. It's glowing lime green. It's exactly what you want to see. Like on here, let me turn you around right quick. All right, like right here, you got your test strip. You can see right there, right at a 1.5, which is perfection. That is exactly where you want it to stay the entire time that those capes are ever in that pickle, no matter how long you leave them in there. The pH has got to stay preferably at a 1.5, between a 1.5 and a 2, but 1.5 is the sweet spot. So I'm going to get over here and start fleshing these things. I will be in here late tonight because it's almost, well, it is lunchtime by now. But since I changed my mind so late last night, I needed to set these hides out probably about 2 or 3 o'clock for them to be really thawed enough to work on, early. And it's taken them until about 11 o'clock before I could even start opening them up. So I'll probably be down here till late tonight, but that's okay, because tomorrow, fingers crossed, tomorrow, we're going to try to go and hang some cameras. We'll take you all along with me. That being said, on these videos, my weekly upload that I do for my shop and all, there may be some scout videos, some fishing videos, whatever I'm going to put on here, kind of what I'm doing during the work week and everything else to kind of give you all an idea of how my work week goes. And what I'll probably do is separate most of those videos out. I did one today where I actually separated out my kayak scouting trip, made that a separate video on my channel. So if y'all see a duplicate here or there, you don't have to watch it twice, obviously, but now you know why I did it. That way I'll have a separate scouting video in case anybody did not care anything about whatever I was doing in my taxidermy shop, and vice versa. That way you have the option to watch just one. But anyhow, guys, I'm going to get started, and we will get back with y'all as soon as I see something relevant. Today is September the 19th, Thursday. And I have made it out here to one of the spots I want to hang a camera on the top of this point. Way, way, way up on the top of a big bluff. There was what I believe to be a really nice buck in here last year, leaving some rubs. And one giant scrape right up here. That was one of the rubs right there on that tree. But there was a tree right up here that was tore up. It had a huge scrape. I'm going to put a camera in here on it. See if I can't get a picture of whatever it is, assuming he's still alive. Yeah, here we go. Tree up there. That's a big rub. Really big rub. And under this whole thing was a scrape right under this licking branch. You see how important it is if you're trying to find scrapes or even fresh sign. I mean, that rub, you can kind of tell it's made last year, but it doesn't look fresh, obviously. But you can't even tell there was a scrape here, really. And this thing was probably 5 or 6 foot wide. It was huge. I'm gonna get right up here above it somewhere and hang my camera in a little bit of a inconspicuous spot. See if I can't get a picture of him. Then we're gonna go up the road up here and hang another one on another pile of scrapes I found not too far from here. All right, got the camera set, ready to go. I'm gonna try to get somewhere. The rub is here. The scrape. I'm gonna try to find a tree somewhere on the side of that hill over there where I can shoot this little bench and not have to come up here across it. All right, I think I found the tree. Got a big old hemlock full of limbs. One beside it, a few over here beside it. One on the other side over here that's gonna be green all winter long. So that'll keep me hidden once all these leaves fall off. And plus got this hillside. I think the wind's gonna be kind of coming up. Air's gonna be rising up here in the morning and just get my scent on out of here. So rub's back up that way. And I think this is gonna be the spot. So we're gonna mark it, we're gonna head on. So I got my other camera hung. I didn't want to show too much of that because I didn't want to give away that spot. That's a little bit of obvious terrain pictures and stuff in there I didn't want anybody to recognize. But I want to tell y'all about something right quick before I get back to the house and check my shop. I have collaborated with a really good friend of mine. I mentioned it in one of my previous videos. I'm going to make a video exclusively just for this, but there's a company called Turner Saddlery. And a good friend of mine, he was one of my best friends growing up. We were childhood friends. He lived right down the road from me. He started building slings and belts and making stuff out of leather when he was about 11 years old. And, you know, it's funny, back then, we just kind of thought it was something that he did for fun or whatever. Well, now he owns Turner Saddlery. And he is one of the top suppliers of military gunslings in the country. He makes the Turner sling. You may have heard of it before. Chris Kyle, the sniper, he used one of Matt's slings is what he had on his rifle. Matt they did the slings and the leather work for Saving Private Ryan and for the movie American Sniper. He did their slings and leather work and stuff. And anyway, Matt has invited me to partner up with him, and we have created a gunsling for me called the Cedar Ridge Overlander. I used it last year, all season, on my muzzleloader and on my rifle, just to make sure that it was, you know, what I wanted and what he wanted, and make sure everything was right about it. We did a few modifications and tweaked it a little bit, but it is now on his website. And y'all can go on that website now, and if you use the code CRC5, you can get 5% off everything on his whole website. Everything that he carries is 100% USA. It's 100% American made. The swivels, everything. He has the swivels special made just so that they can be American made. He has all the materials. Every single material that he uses on his entire website, everything is American sourced, American made. And y'all need to go check that site out because he is kind of semi-famous. And I really didn't realize we've been out of touch now for, it's probably been 25, 30 years. As a matter of fact, just a little bit of a backstory. When I got saved, I don't know if y'all remember Judgment House back in the day. I don't know if they still do that or not, where churches would get together and they would have this thing called Judgment House where people would come. You could bring kids, take them through Judgment House where it was like different stages of sin, and they could see like all of a sudden like you get sent into hell and what it was like, and heaven and what it was like, and that kind of thing. Anyway, when we were 12 years old, Matthew invited me to come with him to Judgment House. And on that day when we went to Judgment House, he and I both got saved together there at Judgment House. Both of us gave our life to Christ right there at the same time. As a matter of fact, I've still got the little card that they gave me at Judgment House where I could sign my name and put the date on it. I've still got that at home in my Bible. And he was the one that invited me there to do that. So that was a very special day in my life, obviously. But we were, like I said, we were very close friends. And we still are. He lives in North Carolina. You know, I live in Alabama, so you know we're not neighbors anymore. But I just couldn't believe it when he called me up and you know was mentioning all of this because I had no idea. But when I do the full video on this, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. Maybe I'm going to talk to him some too and figure out a little bit more talking points as to what he's done. Not that he really has to prove himself, but the sling that I'm selling, I mean, it's about $100, and it's not cheap. It's not going to be like a $20 sling you're going to go buy at a gun store at Walmart or something like that, because like I said, it's borderline bulletproof. I mean, it's the same material, same make of the sling that Chris Kyle had on his sniper rifle. And it's got some paracord woven into it where you can use that, you know, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, rather than having to take some paracord with you. You've already got that integrated into the sling. We've got it built where the swivels are in certain places to where when you're carrying it, you've got double straps up top and paracord down below to where your swivel, you kind of hold on to that break in the sling, which, I mean, you know, you'll see it later on the video that I do for it. But so y'all please head over there and check out that website. And like I said, CRC5 at checkout gets you 5% off of anything on the website that you order. And also, while I'm doing a little bit of promoting, I hate to promote unless it's something that I use and love, or unless I can save y'all some money. So don't forget, if y'all want any JX3 stuff, any kind of saddles or any JX3 bags, accessories, anything they carry, you get on JX3's website, and CRC5 on there will also get you 5% off of everything on JX3's website. So anything y'all need off there, you CRC5, you get on there, you get you some money off, and just save you a little bit on your order. Y'all, it's finally Friday. I guess I can let y'all know what I did Wednesday night in my shop because my phone went dead and I never quite finished that out. Wednesday night and yesterday, I have come in here and I finished up. The rest of my hides are all in the pickle, except for these 5 right here. This Friday morning, I'm going to shave these down and get these 5 thinned and back into the pickle. It's like I was telling y'all before, I've got these cards in stacks of 5. And these over here, these 5 were the ones that I put in there on Monday. So Monday, they sat Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now today being Friday, they can be shaved and put back into the pickle. So then Monday, after that, at any time, I can tan those and I can go ahead and mount those deer. What we're gonna do, come back Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to shave 5 and 5 on Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we'll start getting into that tanning process, and it won't be probably by the end of next week. We'll probably have a few deer mounted up on the form. So I talked to y'all just a little bit yesterday about the Turner Sadlery website, and I hope that y'all have had a chance to go and visit that, or will, after you get done watching this video. Please watch the rest of the video first. But anyway, also, my new book, Raised in the Alabama Swamp, is going to be coming out hopefully by the end of the weekend. Unless something prevents me from getting everything finished. I've been editing this week and have just about got it completely edited, and all I have got to do is finish up my cover and get that put on Amazon. So hopefully by the end of this weekend it will be on Amazon. I'll let y'all know in a post. It will be on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll probably do maybe a YouTube community post so everybody knows that's on there. And I will end up doing a video on it too at some point in time. I've been really pressed for time. This time of year is tough to make videos. That's why I haven't been doing a whole lot of taxidermy videos, because this time of year there's so much going on between getting the shop prep for this season, getting the stuff finished up from last season. And I try to organize all my freezers and stuff too, like where I've got all these hides in the freezers. I put pieces of paper on each one and tape it to where it's got the numbers of each hide on those pieces of paper, so that I know what hides are in what freezers. It gets really frantic during deer season. So as you're putting all those hides in there, it's very easy to just have 150, 200 hides, however many deer you do a year. You got all these capes and all these freezers. You have no idea which one is in what freezer. Rather than have to dig through all that stuff, at least you've got the numbers on there. Now, what I try to do when the season gets this close is I consolidate all of that. Like all of my hides now will fit into one freezer. So I make me a new piece of paper, get rid of all the old stuff, write down all the capes that are in that freezer, put that piece of paper on it, and I've got a whole bunch of empty freezers sitting there waiting for my new capes. That way, too, it'll keep me from mixing up anything last year from this year, which, like I told y'all before, that's why I put the name and the number on those tags, because sometimes if you've got overlapping seasons, you may end up with a number 3, and then a year later may end up with a number 3. So if that deer's not done before you get another deer, because I mean, you're looking at February, if somebody kills a deer February the 10th in Alabama, and then turns around and kills a deer August, 15th, 17th, something like that in Tennessee during the velvet hunt. I mean, you don't have that much time. Was that March, April, May, June, July, August? You got 6 months in between deer seasons, essentially. And all the deer ain't gonna be done, by then anyway. So you gotta be real careful to keep all that separated. But I want to get in here and start shaving these hides, and we will see y'all here in a little bit. All right, 5 o'clock on Friday. It means it is quitting time. And I have got 5 hides thinned. Got them under my little plastic pallet right here, holding those hides down, because there's 15 in there. Make sure they stay submerged so that they can get underneath that pickle. And on Friday night, the local Mennonite restaurant has got all-you-can-eat seafood. So me and Christy are about to go and wear that place out. So guys, y'all have a great weekend. Y'all be safe and be careful out there. We will see y'all on Monday morning.